All right. So every 3 to 5 years, I tend to revisit this code kata, business rules code kata. Turn this down a little bit. And this business rules code kata, when I first attempted this code kata, I learned that TDD doesn't necessarily work for everything, at least when I'm employing it. I got myself in trouble trying to use test-driven development with this particular code kata. I got notified that I've been invited to a technical interview with an F# shop. I haven't written F# in like between 3 and 4 months, so I'm like hella rusty. My day job is primarily Azure and just doing ad hoc stuff in Azure. It consumes the majority of my time for my day job. And what little code that I write, it's usually in C#. So I was going to take maybe an hour or two this morning trying to sharpen the saw on my favorite code kata, which again, I visit like every 3 to 5 years. I remember the first time I attempted to tackle this. Again, I was trying to use test-driven development because that was like my go-to tool for any solution. And I learned that for this particular code kata, for business rules code kata, it didn't work for me, right? So Mark Seaman had responded to my Stack Overflow question when I was asking for recommendations on how to solve this kata in F# or using functional programming. And he provided me a really elegant solution. I then wrote a blog post using that elegant solution. I think I published that blog post maybe like between 8 to 10 years ago. I refuse to look at that blog post right now because I want to be able to do this without referencing anything. So I'll go ahead and read this code kata before I think I'm going to fail trying to solve it in this video. But the code kata is as follows, right? So if you go to codekata.com, this is kata number 16, business rules. It goes like this. Let me turn down my favorite instrumental a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit better. All right, code kata 16, business rules. How can you tame a wild and changing set of business rules? Imagine you're writing an order processing application for a large company. In the past, this company used a fairly random mixture of manual and ad hoc automated business practices to handle orders. They now want to pull all these various ways of handling orders together into one whole, your application. However, they and their customers have come to cherish the diversity of their business rules. And so they tell you that you'll have to bring all these rules forward into the new system. When you go in to meet the existing order entry folks, you discover that their business practices border on chaotic. No two product lines have the same set of processing rules. To make it worse, most of the rules aren't written down. You're often told something like, oh, Carol on the second floor handles that kind of order. During the first day of meetings, you've decided to focus on payments, and in particular on the processing required when a payment was received by the company. You come home exhausted and with a legal pad full of rule snippets such as, if the payment is for a physical product, generate a packing slip for shipping. If the payment is for a book, create a duplicate packing slip for the royalty department. If the payment is for a membership, activate that membership. If the payment is an upgrade to a membership, apply the upgrade. If the payment is for the membership or upgrade, email the owner and inform them of activation/upgrade. If the payment is for the video learning to ski, add a free first aid video to the packing slip, the result of the court decision in 1997. If the payment is for a physical product or a book, generate a commission payment to the agent, and so on and so on for 7 long yellow pages. And each day, to your horror, you gather more and more pages of these rules. Now you're faced with implementing the system. The rules are complicated and fairly arbitrary. What's more, you know that you're going to change, or take two. What's more, you know that they are going to change once the system goes live. All sorts of special cases will come out of the woodwork. So then it says objectives. How can you tame these wild business rules? How can you build a system that will be flexible enough to handle both the complexity and the need for change? And how can you do it without condemning yourself to years and years of mindless support? And when I was attempting to do TDD to satisfy this business kata, I failed miserably. And that's when my attitude towards TDD changed. It wasn't just a hammer that would get results for every single thing that I needed. I realized that TDD didn't necessarily address maintainability for solutions. It could, in theory, just add more complexity as each new case comes. At least the way that I employed TDD, aka test-driven development. This was posted by Dave Thomas, aka Pragmatic Dave, on December 14, 2013. I actually had him on my channel several years ago. All right. So objective is, how can you tame these wild business rules? How can you build a system that will be flexible enough to handle both the complexity and the need for change? And, again, if the payment for a physical product, if the payment is for a physical product, generate a packing slip for shipping. If the payment is for a book, create a duplicate packing slip for royalty department. If the payment is for a membership, activate that membership. If the payment is an upgrade to a membership, apply the upgrade. If the payment is for a membership or upgrade, email the owner and inform them of activation upgrade. If the payment is for the video learning to ski, add a first aid video to the packing slip. If the payment is for a physical product or a book, generate a commission payment to the agent, so on, so on, so on. What all these have in common is payment, 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 payment. So maybe it's fair to say that my domain model is going to include a payment. All right. So I set up some scaffolding right here. And obviously the first thing I do is set up my test scaffolding. I've been working on using a MacBook for a while now for my job. So now I have to condition my mind to go back to Windows. Create a class library. Call this payment processing. The specification, maybe, I don't know. Not sure yet. Okay. And so maybe we call this payment processing, and maybe we call this module operations, maybe IDK. And maybe within operations, we have a type called payment. And I'm not sure what this payment is going to be. If we visit the requirements, payment is for a physical book. Payment is for take two. Payment is for a physical product. If the payment is for a book, the payment is for a membership. If the payment is an upgrade to a member, okay. So you have some notion of a payment that looks like it has a type. I'm starting to forget. Type is a reserved word. Okay, yeah. So we could say, do I really have to say payment type? I would like to just say payment dot type. What's another word for type? If the payment is for, the payment is for, is the payment is for, is the payment is for. Okay, so maybe it's not a type. So you just say for. Let's just do that. I'm okay with that right now. It looks kind of weird because for isn't really a noun. But okay, whatever. So 4 is going to be a string. This is not an operation. It's change this to operation. And then we could add another one. Control Shift A. Or hold on, I thought I could do Control Shift A. Oh, that's Function Shift A. Control Shift A. We can name this one language. Okay. This is, oh God, my MacBook muscle memory is making this difficult for me. Something like that. So then what? We could say open language, and then we can say that our operations is process. So you could say type process, and then it takes a payment, right? Something like that. And what does it return? Uh-oh. That's a good question. If we go back up here, it's going to return generate packing slip, create duplicate packing slip, activate the membership. It's going to return some type of action. So we could just say action. Okay. What is an action? You can say the type action equals a string for right now. And that might work because if we look at the code kata description, we see it like, do we really want to define the type for every single action and have to recompile every single time the business decides to add a new action or procedure whenever a payment is made? Yeah, that could be cumbersome. That's not really maintenance friendly. So maybe it would just be better to just have it extremely abstract and just have it a string for an action. That's the thought process right here. All right, so now what? So for payment processing, for the operations module, we'll define an operation called process that takes a payment and it returns an action. So far, that seems simple. Okay. Now, does it return an action or does it return a list of actions? If we return to this kata, a payment for a physical product, generate a packing slip for shipping. If the payment is for a book, create a duplicate packing slip for the royalty department. So a book is a physical product. And so if a payment is for a book, because it is a physical product, not only do we generate a packing slip for shipping, but we also create a duplicate packing slip for the royalty department. So that means that we can have a list of actions. So we define a process, or we declare a process operation that takes a payment and returns a list of actions. Okay. Type action is equal action list. Okay. That seems okay to me. Now what? So we can call this process payments for the name of our test. And code kata test, I'll leave that alone. And then over here, we'll call this process. The verbiage they used was tangible product. Tangible. I don't know how to spell tangible. Something like that. Well, they said physical product. I could have sworn I see tangible somewhere in here. All right, whatever. Process physical product. Okay. So just to go through the template, every test has a setup. I might delete these comments later. Every test has a test. Every test has a verification. And if it's an integration test, well, I mean, every test has a teardown, but if it's a unit test, your garbage collection is the teardown, and that's just done automatically by the framework or the runtime specifically. So we don't have to be explicit about that. So test verify, something like that, right? Assert. Uh-oh. I thought there was a assert true. Assert. Because assert equals. What happened to my true? Assert that. I don't like that. What happened to my true? So it looks like assert that will take. It looks like it's going to take some type of lambda. So it looks like it takes something like fun the goes to something like this maybe. Oh, that compiles. Okay. And then the all right. That V can be anything. And so all right. So now what? We know that our test is going to be. Oh yeah, we gotta write an interpreter. Yeah, I like writing hello libraries within a solution. So this was called payment processing specification. I'll call this payment processing dot interpreter. Payment processing dot interpreter is going to reference your payment processing dot specification, and then it's going to interpret. Take two. Interpret. Okay. So then we could say, what am I supposed to say? Yeah, using, and then I could say payment processing dot operations. Am I supposed to say using or import? I don't know. Is there an import? No. Open. Okay. I'm stuck in C# world. Open. Payment processing dot operations. Let me say payment processing dot language. Something like that. And then this would be interpret. Is that the name of the module? No. The name of the module is interpreter. And then we can say let interpret, and then equal, let interpret implement this is like payment processing dot operations dot process. Yeah. And then you do that, and then it's going to take a function, and then it's going to do something. And it's going to return a list of actions. In this case, it's going to take a payment. All right. And it's going to return a list of actions. So you could probably say This right here. Now what? It takes a payment. I gotta remember pattern matching now. So you can say payment, pipe that into a. My memory is shot. I think it's like function, and I thought you could do something like this. Something like that. And then your wildcard. Yeah. I think it's something like this is the syntax. Will that work? But payment. Oh yeah. Okay. So then you say payment dot for. Okay. Okay. And then that's your wild card. And this text right here would basically map to your text. Yeah. So for right now, we can either literally put in here physical products, but then this is the one below is a book, which is also a physical product. And what I don't want to do is keep adding all the different types that a payment could be for, because that could be a nightmare. I think I have something. All right. So just bear with me for a second. Let's assume that the payment is for a gerbil. In theory, there would be a string called gerbil. I don't know how to spell gerbil. And it would execute some logic and return like an action, right? A gerbil is a physical product, but how would it know that? We could say there's a payment for, and that's a string. If you didn't make it a string, you can make it into some domain type, and then you can add a property called is physical product. And that would work, but then would that be maintainable? Look at this. I mean, here it is down here. If the payment is for a physical product or a book, generate a commission payment. Okay. So what am I thinking? Your payment is going to be I think this is going to be a list as well. Your payment for it could why can't a payment be for one or a list of items? It doesn't necessarily have to be a payment for an individual item. Okay. And so in theory, let's say that we have this right here. All this doesn't compile now because we're doing a list, right? So now you have to say, how do you want to do this? You have your function payment, and then you have let for, or you could just say let items equal, and then it's your payment dot for, like that. And then you can say, and then you can run, yeah. So in theory, you could say, let's get rid of this. Payment for, you pipe that into a item to, you can say get action, or you can say to action. But that will require a list dot map to action. Okay. And so then your let private to action will take a B, which is something like that, and it's going to return an action, which is really just a string, right? Something like that. Okay. And so, yeah, so this will move up here. And your action can be two actions. Okay. And then that's a V. Okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking that this will go up here. Something like that. This would be two actions. And that process is going to, okay. And it doesn't like that because given, you say let result equals, and the result is going to be actions list. Yeah, so then you could just say list dot, I think it's concat, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And so then what do you put in here? Well, I don't know if we care about this. So you can say b dot to lower, and then we bring this back down to low caps. That might be helpful. Okay. Now what? I think this might work. So then, how would you test that? You have your setup is let purchase item equal, we'll say book. Oh shoot, equal book. Okay. Great. Now what? Well, your test is going to be your. I thought it was like pay. Crap. Give me a second. We got to reference the interpreter. Did we reference the interpreter yet? No, we did not reference the interpreter yet. Reference the interpreter. And so then our interpreter right here, dot interpret over there. So we should be able to say something to like interpreter dot, okay, shoot. No, can I like open you? No. Open, I thought it was called like payment, take two. I thought it was called like payment processing. What's the namespace for this interpreter? It is payment processing, come here. Oh, payment processing dot, why aren't you showing up? Interpreter, why aren't you showing up? What? Why is this not? I thought I added. Oh, it's not. So what do I do over here? Yeah, that's fine. What do I do over here? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Payment processing dot. Okay, it still isn't right. Hold up. Interpreter's right there. Payment processing dot. Oh, okay. Payment processing. The module's called interpreter. That should work. Hold up. This should work right here. Oh, okay. So then I should be able to say interpret. And so you should be able to say purchase item dot interpret. And then Oh, I need to use FS chart or FS unit. So in our test, right click, manage new get packages. There should be a FS unit. Saw that. Oh, but FS unit only works with X unit. Oh, man. Oh, X unit. There should be like an X unit, like Visual Studio thingamajig. I'm going to end up removing in unit. So if we go back over here, if I say open X unit, and I think there's like an open X unit dot, no, definitely need an open FS unit right here. Can I just, it will be as easy as me just saying facts. And will my test explorer still discover the test? Yeah, it looks like it still discovers it. All right, cool. So then purchase item equals book, right? And in theory, we could just say book. Okay. Get rid of that. And in theory, well, let's for right now temporarily just say let result equal. And so then in theory, we should be able to say something like result should equal, and then it should be like a list, some like if we look at the code kata, it should be a packing slip for shipping. Something like that. And it'll be something like that. Right. But remember when they said a physical product, this physical product is a packing slip for shipping. A book is a duplicate packing slip for the royalty department. Okay. So physical product, packing slip for shipping, and then we could say royalty was it department? I forget. Yeah, royalty department. Okay. So what does that mean? Um, there's a couple things we could. A book is a physical product. Do we want to say? Do we want to put the burden on the client and say, something like physical products, book? Like, do we want to do something like this and then interpret? And another one would be like upgrade membership. Like, I'm not sure if we want to do that for the client, but we also don't want to recompile, right? That's what we don't want to do. So, what can you do about that? Well, okay. For this interpret function that implements this process, in this case, we should probably rename this process payment. For this interpret function that implements this process payment abstraction, you take a payment and yeah, it says for, takes a string list. If we look at our client, I think this probably needs to be a tuple. So we need to take an item that a payment is for and determine if it's a physical product or not. And we should put I think it's okay to put the burden on the client to provide, whether it's a bool or a discriminated union or a enum, probably enum. If it's physical or not. Else, I mean, we're just going to have a proliferation of code for every single item that could be possibly purchased to say if it's a physical product or not. And I don't think we want to do all that. So your interpreter will interpret a payment. That's right here. So your process payment is this right here. But it takes a string of items, and so that should really probably be a tuple. I don't know how you do tuple. I think it's like a string and then a star. I don't think it's going to be another string. In this case, we're going to say product type. La la la. We're gonna. I don't want to. I'm not sure if I should say product type. Because if I say product type, then, like for example, I could say product type, and then we could say physical. And then If it's not physical, then what is it? It's, it's other. That might work. All right. So then you have a payment, and then for, and then you have your hell's bells, dude. You can say type, product name. That's just a type abbreviation for a string, something like this. Okay. So for a product name and a product type, that's list. Okay. So that shouldn't compile. If we go to our interpret, it should be something like this. Um, Yeah. All right. So we should be able to. In theory, we should be able to do something like this. We should be able to get rid of the physical product. Okay. And something's still not right. This two, yeah. So this is supposed to be a. This V is supposed to be your product name. Oh, God, your product name and your product type. So we could say product name star product type. Okay. And the more I look at this, we should just probably just call it a product. All right. So type product. And then you have your name, which is a string. And then you have your type, which is a product type. Something like that. Um, Something like that, right? So now we have a product. And then, so we could probably call that P for product. And then we say P dot name to lower. Okay. Now what? I think this works. Okay. We gotta resolve this actions right here. Payment for. This takes a product list. That should get resolved. What else is failing? So now we have our test. I could probably get rid of in unit now. I did not mean to do that. All right. So, in theory, our test explorer should still expose or shoot. Okay, yeah. All right. So, let me make sure I don't have any messages. So now we have, let's go back to our setup. And then we have let book equal, and it's going to be a product where we have name equal, or I think it's type, right? Type equals book, and then I don't know what it's called. Hold on. Name and type. Name that, and then type equals, and that's supposed to be a physical, something like that. Let's say our book is a product. Okay. And so in theory, should be able to do something like that, but that needs to be a list, right? So you say book that, does interpret not take, it takes a payment crap. So then you say let payment, and payment is a list of products for equal, and then you can say, hopefully you should just be able to say book like that. Something like this. So then what is this right here? Module namespace payment processing operations from compilation unit did not contain the namespace module for process. This is talking about this test. The module namespace, whatever operations. Well, this is operations. Do not contain the namespace module or type process. Language. I have no clue what this thing is all about. If I do a clean and then rebuild, okay, that worked. All right, so what happens when we do this? We should get two things. It equal packing slip for shipping, but I thought also the code Kata was supposed to say for the royalty department. I think it needs to have something like this. And we can do this right here. Okay. So put a breakpoint right here. Control RT. We interpret packing slip for shipping, packing slip for royalty department. We gotta get rid of this right here. And I'm thinking this should work. Hold up. Say interpret, and then you run it. Your result is going to be packing slip for shipping, packing slip for royalty department, packing slip for shipping, packing slip for that should work. Ooh, hold up. Crap. Packing slip for shipping, packing slip for royalty department. But it was packing slip for shipping, packing slip for what am I getting wrong here? Oh, for the this was it says for the all right, so that should work. Crap, that should work. So if we do Control RT, this should be green, and it does. We have a green test right here. All right, so that's one. What's the next one? We just covered physical products, generated packing slip for shipping. We handle the payments for a book. What about payments for a membership? We need to activate that membership. Okay. So we could put over here membership, and then we could say activate membership. Something like that. All right. We're looking at this right here. If the payment is for a membership, activate the membership. If the payment is an upgrade to a membership, apply the upgrade. Oh, I'll look at that item after I test the membership one. So we copy paste this test and then modify it for a membership purchase. Membership. So name of the product is membership. And I'm gonna say membership. Okay. And the membership is not physical, it's other. Okay. And so payment interpret, and then let's just put in payments for membership, activate that membership. Put that right there. Something like that. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So in theory, I should be able to run this, and this process membership should be green as well. No. Activate membership. Oh, it looks like it's case sensitive. So there's a couple things. That's case sensitive issue. If I run this test again, it's green. See, green. All right. So then, what's the next one? If the payment is an upgrade to a membership, apply the upgrade. That's this right here. All right. So let's add a test. Process membership upgrade is what we can end the test. And then we can say membership upgrade. Membership upgrade. And then we can say payment for membership upgrade. And then interpret. And then we can say upgrade membership. Something like that. If we go into our interpreter, we should just take two. If we go into our interpreter, we should just be able to say for membership upgrade, we should just have upgrade membership. Something like that. Control Shift B to build. And then go to our test. Control RT to run the test. And that's green. Yay. All right. So then the next one, if the payment is for a membership or upgrade, email the owner and inform them of the activation upgrade. Okay. It says email the owner and inform them of the activation or upgrade. All right. So we can go in here and say email owner. All right, it said owner. What was the word? Email the owner and inform them of activation. Okay. Email owner and inform of membership activation. I can't spell activation. And then email owner and inform of membership upgrade. Okay. So then this should now include this membership activation like that. Well, this is membership upgrade. This one down here should be membership activation. This should be upgrade. So then if we do a control RT for process membership test, that should be green. And if we do a control RT for process membership upgrade, that should be green. Is there a control run all? It looks like there is. Yeah. Everything's green. Yeah. All right. Cool. If the payment is for a membership or upgrade, email the owner and inform them of the membership upgrade. That's what we just did right here. The next one is if the payment is for the video learning to ski, add a free first aid video to the packing slip. Okay. All right. So let's do another one. Process learning to ski video. So this is a video. And this would be learning to ski. Okay. Is a video is a video a physical product? I guess not. It's digital, right? Okay. So they said that when they buy a video about learning to ski, you add a free first aid video to the packing slip. So we could just say free first aid video. But they said packing slip. Hold up. For physical products, we generate a packing slip for shipping. So it looks like the video isn't like downloadable. It looks like it's a videotape because we're doing a packing slip for it. Okay. The way I interpret those requirements is your learning to ski video is a physical product. So it should include packing slip for shipping. something like that. So over here, we do a learning to ski and you do that, and you also do this right here. Run the tests for this learning to ski video to include a packing slip for shipping and first aid video. Uh-oh. Packing slip for shipping, first aid video, free first aid video. Hold on, what's the difference? Packing slip for shipping, free first aid video. Oh, it says it was empty. Oh shoot, hold up. So this learning to ski wasn't caught. Why wasn't it caught? Learning to ski. Why wasn't it caught? Hold up. I should have made it. I don't understand. It's always empty. All right, so let's walk through it. Control RT. Step. P.name learning to ski. Oh, because I have caps. Okay. All right, run the test again. It should pass. We're green. All right, next one is last one is if the payment is for a physical product or a book, generate a commission payment to the agent. Oh, a book is a physical product. Okay. So that's going to break all my existing tests. So it's a physical products or book results in commission to agent. All right, that's what the requirement says. If the payment is for a physical product or a book, generate a commission payment to the agent. Okay. So we can. I thought I had a book in here. Yeah, it's this right here. Here we can say generate commission for agent to agent. That right there. So over here, we would just add that. We would just add that. And so that's going to break our existing test unless we add this and upgrade, activate, unless we add this right here. Control RA for control run all tests. Everything should be green now. Everything is green, my friend. We have 5 tests. They all are passing green. Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. So that's it. I did the kata, and honestly, I didn't really struggle that much. I mean, I struggled a little bit when I was trying to figure out the domain. I'm sure me doing this 5 years ago helped out, right? But yeah, like this is it. Process physical product. I should capitalize that. Process membership upgrade. I should say process membership activation. Process membership upgrade, process learning to ski video, physical product or book results in commission to agent. Yeah, homie. Yeah. Good job. That's it. Like, how long did it take me to complete this kata? It took, an hour and a half. Okay. I don't think the interviewers would be happy with that. That's the end of my stream. See you.